afternoon, everyone. I'm Christine from grade 7, and I'm so happy to share my talk with you. Now that COVID is over, I'm sure that most of you are really happy to take your masks off. Me, I'd prefer to keep it on. I consider myself a good student. I get good grades, I'm a part of student council, and I never get into any kind of trouble. So when parent-teacher conferences came around, I wasn't worried. Turns out, I should have been though. Every meeting I go to, teachers would start with talking about all of my strengths, like I would turn in my homework on time and do good on my tests. But right before I could leave with my head held high, there would always be that quick class comment saying, "Christine should try to participate more in class discussions. Christine is too quiet. I would love to hear more of her voice." And I agree. I completely agree by what they're saying. In school, if you're active in class discussions, you seem smartest, most engaged, and most excited to learn. This is why I decide very frequently to take the mask which hides my real voice off in school by applying for student council, MUN, and even taking opportunities like giving a TEDx speech, even though it will probably take at least a week for me to recover from speaking in front of this many people. But I guess my efforts were in vain. No matter how hard I tried, I seemed to be unable to become extroverted in school. I'm quite extroverted at home. I'm so loud to the point that it becomes obnoxious, and my mom is constantly telling me to be quiet. I don't know why I'm not like this outside of home. All I know is it's completely draining to me. As I was hopelessly pondering how I could improve on my extroversion skill in school, because I was at a complete loss, something in my brain shifted. And I began to think, well, I'm trying to be louder, but is there something good for being quiet? Or is being quiet actually all that bad? The first two words that pop up when I search introverted synonyms are quiet and shy. This explains why introversion is mostly thought of to be inadequate. But the truth is that introverts can actually be quiet and confident. In fact, there's a lot of benefits in being a quiet person. Being quiet helps you to think and listen. Many people think that introverts don't participate in class because they don't raise their hand to share their ideas. But the truth is that we're actually participating very well just by listening to others' ideas and contributing to the discussions in our own heads. The main difference between introverts and extroverts is that introverts think to speak and extroverts speak to think. Well, then obviously introverts will need more time before contributing their thoughts. This still links to the second benefit. Introverts are very thoughtful. Just by giving some space and time, introverts can actually give more structured and in-depth answers. But schools seem to encourage the speak to think way, by not giving enough time for students to think and wanting them to answer quickly, even immediately. For me, that's mostly the case. I don't have enough time to think, and I don't get the opportunity to answer a question, or I just prefer listening, which doesn't mean that I'm not thinking. But because of this, teachers easily conclude that I'm not engaged in class. To prevent these situations, teachers could provide thinking time by doing activities like think, pair, share. This will give students time to think and sharing with just one person first. Another activity is writing or journaling. Writing gives plenty of time to think and organize their thoughts. If introverts are given this opportunity, I'm sure that they won't have much difficulty taking off their masks and proudly and confidently sharing their voice and thoughts. Many people think that being introverted will be disadvantageous when they go out in society. Not only is this untrue, but being introverted can actually benefit the society. Successful people like Bill Gates and Albert Einstein were introverts. And just a few hundred years ago, introversion was seen as the ideal trait of being a successful leader. Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and even John F. Kennedy were praised as presidents for their calm personalities. Big corporations like Google and Amazon are also realizing the benefit that introversion brings to the table. Amazon now begins their meeting in silence, with everyone reading a memo individually, giving people time to think. And Google no longer puts significance on job interviews face-to-face. Just like how modern companies are changing, can places like schools or universities also make these changes? Introversion is not black or white. It's a scale. This means that people are rarely 100% extroverted or 100% introverted. They are a combination of the two traits. According to PositivePsychology.com, in a study that tested over 3,000 participants, only 17% described themselves as either very extroverted or very introverted, while 77% describe themselves as somewhere in between. Therefore, our society shouldn't just praise extroversion. It should acknowledge that most people are balanced between the two traits, so it should look for ways to truly tap into these in-betweeners' potential. Instead of forcing people to ignore their introversion, or worse, be ashamed of it, it should teach people that there are benefits to both characteristics, especially in different situations. Let's cater more introversion in the classroom and change the perception about the quiet kid in class. Instead of constant class discussions or presentations, most of us would benefit from quiet time to organize our thoughts before we share with the whole class. Certainly, we don't have to hear every single thought that crosses a teenager's mind. So next time, when you see an introverted person in class, keeping their masks on, so to speak, don't think, why is that person always so quiet or shy? But rather think, I wonder what cool ideas they're taking time to think of. Maybe we can all benefit from allowing the introverts to keep their masks on from time to time and allow them to celebrate their quiet parts too. Thank you.